Hi, I'm Maggot, and this is my Rabies Druid playthrough. Rabies Druid in Diablo 2. Actually in the mod BTDiablo. Why? Because a couple of months ago I trashed this build in a showcase and I really wanted to check if I was wrong back then. It turned out I was. Rabies Druid is amazing as a playthrough. It is a melee build with AoE damage and I really liked this playthrough. I hope you stick to the end to see how everything went. My first rough moment was just 10 minutes after the start of the run, where I couldn't run away from corpse fire. My druid started dancing and I died. That was the most problems I had in normal and majority of nightmare. This time, for the countess, I take full advantage of the BTDiablo improvements. So I did just one run for the countess where I found a Ral at runes and I downgraded the Ral rune into a Tal and got my stealth. By the way, all the footage in normal and majority of nightmare is P8. Like the poison druid early on was that good. So poison creeper has amazing poison damage early on, then rabies, when that was available, also introduced some more damage improvement. Here is my Andariel fight. It goes pretty smooth. I'm pretty happy with the damage. I think that this is P8 Andariel. Not 100% sure, I did not find any footage of me switching between. Just as in my Ancients Barbarian playthrough, I am using magic find potions that I built before for the normal part of the game, so I have finding some loot. I was a bit afraid of Duriel, so I lowered the difficulty to players 4. That turned out to be not that necessary. I could handle Duriel pretty easily due to the poison damage. Like you can see, this is 2 times sped up, but the timer shows how long I spent over here. So just kiting Duriel and waiting for the poison to do its thing. And in just 2 minutes, which is pretty nice for a normal Duriel fight, I was done with it. The strategy with Rabies was just applying the poison damage to the monsters, then running around trying to find another pack of monsters that I can bite and spread the poison and wait for it to kill the monsters, the pack. For Duriel, for Mephisto, I actually forgot to lower the player count. So what you see at the moment is again P8 Duriel, which was tougher than I expected, that I had planned. I should have lowered the difficulty so it does not take 5 minutes waiting for the poison to kill Mephisto while he almost one-shots me. Izual was pretty generous, and this is the moment in time when I got my first aim rune, so pretty early in the run, and I was able to make myself a strength rune word, which provided me with 25% crushing blow, which was another big improvement for this build. As you can see, the Hellforge provided just a nith rune. I got the flawless ruby, but I was not in a hurry for a crushing blow gloves. I had the runes to make an ancient's pledge just before the Diablo fight, so that also went pretty smooth, as you can see, with the crushing blow and the resist from ancient's pledge. It was pretty decent for a normal Diablo fight. Just a few minutes and Diablo was done. In Act 5 Anya provided me with my first rare helm. Unfortunately, it was not something useful for me and for my run. I fought the Ancients on P1 just for being extra as a precaution measure. The fight was rather smooth. I was able to keep my mercenary alive. Just easy. Something similar for the Throne Room or the World Stone Chamber. I was able to clear everything. I don't remember what was the players count for Baal, maybe P3. I don't, for sure it's not P8. I was lowering the player count when I thought that it would take me too long to fight, to do the fight in players 8. I was quite over leveled. I think I was like level 40 at this point, or close to level 40. I did a cow level just after Baal, and the cow's level was just a slaughter. I think this is players 8 cows, like they instantly die from the poison damage that I apply. Once again, the strategy was bite one pack of cows, and because they are too clustered, they are so close together, I was able to go and look around and gather some loot while the cows were dying. So thanks to the cow run, I got myself another aim rune and built an edge bow for my runs. I even had an insight on my mercenary. I got soul rune during my run. I was pretty good with the rune drops. This is when I started putting points in the pets for some crowd control, and I was sending the bear to suicide missions all the way until the end of the game. From the Countess I got a dull rune that I downgraded and created myself a Rhyme Shield, which was nice source of cannot be frozen. For Andariel I lowered the player difficulty to players 5, again not to be too worried about dying there or spending too much time for killing Andariel, and having the bear around the fight was rather smooth. Again, it was a few minutes for players 5 Andariel, and she decided to drop me a set item that's been reworked in BTDiablo. This is Tancred's military pick, and as you can see it has 35% chance of crushing blow, max damage and some attack rating. Again, for Nightmare Duriel I lowered the player difficulty to P3 with the 35% crushing blow. Duriel just evaporated. I just deleted him from the game. Like this footage is cut just so I can go get my Magic Find gear, but that was less than a minute for Duriel. Spider Cavern turned out to be a very interesting place for my run, both in Nightmare and in Hell. So this is my Nightmare Spider Cavern run, where I found a pair of water walks. I don't find those very useful, it's just a nice find. So this is right after I had killed Duriel and I was still with the Magic Find potion. In Act 3 I started switching between the different player counts depending on the monsters I was facing. Switching between P3, P5, P8, P1 for lower Kurust so I don't die. In upper Kurust I found an IO rune which allowed me to build a Cure Helm for my mercenary and take full advantage of the new synergy between Prayer, Insight and cure. I was rather confident for the tropical run, so I decided to use another magic find potion. I also had a lot of gold during this run, so at this stage I was buying my own magic find potions and decided that Travincal would be a good time to spend 400 gold on a magic find potion. For my Mephisto find I used my lower resist wand, and my idea was to continue use it and switch back and forth between shape-shifting form and human form so I can apply it lower resist, but that turned out to be rather inefficient. It was not very smooth, this transition, so I used lower resist in very rare cases. Act 4 welcomed me with souls. I was able to gain another level. I was pretty well with the resists, just a glimpse that I was at 75 light and fire res. For Izual I was pretty surprised that until I clear the pack of Venom Lords he was halfway through the health, through the total health. Again, another rather smooth fight without surprises, with a lot of crushing blow. Hephaestus was the next one to be annihilated by my Rabies Druid for my Nightmare Hellforge. As you can see, just a shell rune. Nightmare Chaos Sanctuary, I lowered the player count to 1 because of the poison immune Venom Lords. So it went smooth at players 1, I had no problems, everything was dying in less than the 8 seconds duration of the poison damage. So in several minutes I was ready to face Infector of Souls, and at this point in this fight I was relying only on my crushing blow and my pets for the crowd control. Just as with the normal Diablo, the fight was... I started, I had prepared my magic find gear in the inventory, so I take a step back just to put on the magic find gear, and then got back to Diablo and kill him again in around a minute time. Don't think it was much more than that. Unfortunately, the loot was nothing too special. Anya in Nightmare again gave me another pretty bad Druid Helm. As you can see, I was switching between different player counts, P3, P8, P4, depending on the monsters. I don't remember what it was for the Nightmare Ancients, because I expected this to be pretty smooth fight again, P1. The aura was only conviction, so it just lowered my defense. I was trying to keep my pets alive, but somehow I died, like I did not see this coming, and it was an unfortunate death, an unexpected one. So the second attempt after I recovered went pretty smooth, so I'm still not exactly sure what I did wrong the first time. As you can see, the ancients play with the bear while I bite them in the back. Again, in Nightmare, the Baal fight was rather smooth and straightforward. Just as I mentioned already a few times, the poison damage was doing a few thousand damage for 8 seconds, and I had a lot of crushing blow. The crowd control by the bear was pretty decent, and the pets in general, as with the other boss fights, a minute or two using my magic find gear, and Baal was done. At this point I was something like level 68, if I remember correctly, 69, okay? So in order to not suffer the experience penalty, I went to the terrorized zones so I can get level 75 and not bother with blood more in hell difficulty. So in an hour I was able to gain several levels and be able to move to hell difficulty at level 75. For hell difficulty I was still optimistic. I even decided to do Den of Evil just so I can get one extra point and wanted to see my damage, how things go. Everything was pretty smooth. I crafted this amazing pair of gloves to resist and magic find. It was pretty decent. I did a single countess run just to see how she does. I did not need any particular runes, unlike my barbarian run. And I went quickly to Andariel for my fight. Again, the bear was doing most of the heavy lifting. She was my animator, trying to keep every guest, all the guests occupied while I was doing my thing. Again, magic find potion and just moving forward with the crushing blow. Then I crafted this pair of really nice safety boots with faster on walk, double resist. Hell Maggot Lair was really interesting. I expected a lot of struggle here because some of the monsters are immune to poison, some of the bugs are immune to poison, the sand maggot. So I planned this to be pretty slow. I was killing all the monsters as I was moving forward, and it turned out to be way less frustrating compared to my barbarian run, when I was trying to jump through the content and get through really quickly. The scarabs were just instantly dying by the poison damage. Just one bite and they started falling in a second or two. Once again the bear was on a suicide mission and I was ready. Next on the menu again was Duriel. Just the good old strategy to go there with the whole gang, to let him play with the bear while I switch between Feral Rage and Rabies, so I can apply both the crushing blow and the poison damage. Duriel dropped me Angelic's armor, so with this I gathered the whole Angelic set, and it is once again buffed in BTDiablo, so I'm thinking about doing some interesting run where I use the Angelic set all the way to beat the game. And back to Spider Cavern. This is where things got really messy. Like I had the worst layout of map. But the map was all the way back. As you can see, I don't have access to the chest. I tried to teleport right into it and I died right into it. Next, after the second death over here, I hit one bug in BTDiablo. The monster composition was pretty nice. The flame spiders were not immune to poison, but my weapon broke, and I went back to repair it, and when I tried to get back to Spider Cavern, I wasn't able. Hratley was blocking my way, and I couldn't convince him to take a step toward me so I can pass and go back to Spider Cavern. So I had to abandon and do yet another run. This time it went okay and I was able to move forward. I found the core rune and I was debating whether I should make hustle for my mercenary weapon or as an armor. I did not need a hustle myself as I was using a smoke armor, and I decided to make a hustle armor for my mercenary because the damage was already decent. I did not need more damage on my mercenary, but some survivability would have been helpful for my mercenary, so I gave him the hustle armor. With it, he got pretty zippy. For Travinkel, I expected way more problems, and I saved a Magic Find potion, but after this fight I was a bit disappointed because I could have got some better drops there. My Durance of Hate level 2 map was pretty nasty, like all the way from the entry to the waypoint and then back to the level 3. Rough. The Mephisto fight was smoother than finding the level 2 entrance, just getting my Magic Find gear and killing Mephisto. The notable drop from the Mephisto fight was Taurash's Helm. This Izual fight is another testament of the power of the rabies and the poison damage. At this point it was like 10k poison damage, like until I clear the pack, Izual was dead. My Hellforge was pretty low on IO rune. Is this the lowest one possible? Next stop was Chaos Sanctuary. Similar to Maggot Lair, I expected a lot of problems, so I did it pretty slow, pretty calm, without rushing it, and it paid off. Like 20 minutes later, but still I was able to clear all Diablo minions. And on the contrary, the contrast with the Diablo fight is that it was pretty smooth. Yet again, giving him to play with the bear while I apply crushing blow and poison damage to help me with the build. Just going to get my Magic Find gear and finishing Diablo off. The Hell Ancients was better than the Nightmare one. I still can't explain to myself what was the problem with the Nightmare run, but it is what it is. After I found a decent aura that the Ancients don't kill me with one hit, I was able to keep them occupied and resurrecting, so summoning the pets for a few times, and I was able to get through the Ancients. The timer in the throne room suggests 3 hours and 35 minutes, and there is another timer before it with 16 hours, so I was just below the 20 hours mark. And despite having souls which are poison immune and snakes which are also poison immune, I was able to clear the room in around 15 minutes. It was better than I expected. I expected more problems in the throne room. Then in the World Stone chamber I was able to clear the pit lords that make Baal company, and headed into the Baal fight just 10 minutes before the 20-hour mark. And again, with the crushing blow and the poison and the pets, I was able to kill Baal and finish this run. So I'm quite impressed by the Rabies Druid. I expected this to be way rough, and to match my expectations I was playing way safer, way slower, just taking my time clearing a lot of monsters, and this is my final gear. 35% chance of crushing blow, maximum damage, crushing blow gloves with 20 better chance and dual resist. The helm I imbued with Charles' Maul, and it got 2 druid skills and 2 open socket, and I put resists and attack rating because at the end my attack rating started but was rather low. Smoke, rune word for the resists, a sash with 2 rare jewels for resists and some additional stats. These are my crafted boots that were also pretty nice. My rings provide also some resists, dual resist with replenished life, and the other ring is also another one with dual resist, replenished life, and a little faster cast rate. And the amulet is something I also crafted. This one rolled pretty nice, and my shield was rhyme. The charms, this is my best charm, it dropped in late nightmare, probably early hell, and the rest of the charms are resists and life. And here are my skills: 20 into Rabies and its synergies Feral Rage and Poison Creeper. Also 20 points into Summon Grizzly, which was my tank, my crowd control. The rest of the points in Summon Dire Wolf, and 1 point Wonders wherever necessary. So that's all for my run. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!